Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers, my viewers, for your respectful, interesting, intelligent, kind, respectful comments. I really do appreciate it. May all the 4 victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families, and may the correct justice be served. Today, I'd like to discuss about all the people at the grub truck carrying they're carrying sharp edge objects, allegedly. It's clear to see. But let me start by showing you all something Steve G said in his interview to Chronicles of Olivia. Olivia does excellent work. She covered this case and many other cases well. The Congalvis family asked specifically Olivia to take an interview of them. They trusted her because Kaylee was a follower, subscriber of Olivia, and she loved true crime. May she rest in peace. I need everyone to pay attention to what Steve says about Kaylee, Jack D, and Showalter.
It sounds like it's like it was just a.
They were around him.
Yeah.
Not this Jack over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, and to me that's comfort level, that's body language, this is the person that I'm comfortable in.
Talked to him about the conversation that night. We've talked to the other guy about the conversation that went on that night, and they both, they were just like, hey, what's been up? Boy, how you been doing? What's been going on? And she was trying to talk him into going to another bar down the street or something like that. And he's like, I worked all day, I'm tired, I'm going home. And he left and went home, and we think things could have been different.
Question, you have time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, she said, and I was just like, she's like, never.
Yeah.
Never. And I was
We're
just
supposed to believe he just takes out 4 on his way to. It just seems like he
overwhelmed custody of the dog. Like there's just
Kaylee was leaving.
Kid was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
yes.
Read those texts.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
She
I
wanted
will leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
Oh, so yeah. And they even when they broke up, they still communicated.
Yes,
it sounds
every day,
like
all the
it's
time.
like
All the time she
in
was
that
around.
bar
it
scene,
was just a.
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not this Jack over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, and to me that's comfort level, that's language, this is the person that I'm comfortable in.
Talked to him about the conversation that night. We've talked to the other guy about the conversation that went on that night, and they both, they were just like, hey, what's been up? Boy, how you been doing? What's been going on? And she was trying to talk him into going to another bar down the street or something like that. And he's like, I worked all day, I'm tired, I'm going home. And he left. And
I hope you all heard that. Steve said that it was not like Kaylee was more closer or standing closer to Showalter. He said she was standing next to Jack D, and that shows him a level of comfort. So is Steve trying to tell us that he has his doubts of Showalter? Because that is being blamed without being blamed, if that makes sense. He's not mentioning the name, or actually he did mention Showalter, but without saying that it's him they should be looking more into. He just is trying to say that Maddie and Kaylee did everything right, and that Kaylee was comfortable, level of comfort she had standing next to Jack D. So who's the odd one out? That would be Showalter, aka Hoodie Guy, who was kicked out of the frats by Ethan Chapin, or Ethan Chapin, and I'm sorry the pronunciation, and let's not forget, Kaylee allegedly got Showalter kicked out of the corner club. But I find this interesting that Alivira, Steve, and Chrissy are defending Jack D. He could be innocent or he could be involved. But I don't like the fact that they're implying that Jack D could never do a crime like this. Nobody knows who did this crime. These crimes, that's the reason there's a quote starting. But they don't find any reason to believe that Jack D could have done it. I wonder why. Steve, just in case you all do not know, is the partner that is the first suspect. There's something called DV between couples. There's something called crime of passion, like the mayor mentioned. It could be revenge. It could be anger. Let's not forget, these quadruples were done the day Kaylee was there. Why didn't they do it before Kaylee? Before Kaylee came back? It's because it wasn't only those three that were the target. It's like a square. There was one corner missing for the evil plan to be complete, and that was Kaylee. So when your daughter was saying she had a stalker, I do actually believe she did have a stalker. Why would Maddie, Kaylee, and the other friends of them, the other girls, lie to the vape manager who told the mainstream news, who told the police that the girls came at least 6 to 7 times to his vape shop, and they would not let Kaylee go anywhere alone because Kaylee had a stalker. The last time Kaylee saw her stalker was in front. He was following her near the corner club, but that was during the day. And when Kaylee turned back, he disappeared. That could have been anyone. I'm not saying it's Jack D. I'm not saying it's BK. It could have been anyone. It could have been Showalter himself. Because all the reports from the beginning to the end, we hear Showalter as harassments towards females, getting kicked out of frat, and he passed a threat to the girls. You know we're going to get you for this, Maddie. Why? Because Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan got him kicked out? Is that the reason? Of his frats? Made him look bad? So I wanted to show you all this part so that you could understand that we actually kind of missed it, because I've never heard any YouTube creator or TikTok creator mentioning this part, which is important. Steve is indirectly or directly trying to tell us Showalter needs to be checked. Showalter was the only person who left town 2 a.m. that morning. He went to his rich, influenced family, allegedly his cabin, 5.5 hours away in Boise, Idaho. What a coincidence. And the court is in Boise. And I always knew it wasn't a good sign.
Dog. Like there's just
Who was it?
Kaylee was leaving.
He was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
that's
To read those texts. Like, I
She
will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
Oh, so yeah. And they even when they broke up, they still communicated.
Yes,
it
every
sounds
day,
like
all the
it's
time.
like you know,
The whole time she
and
was
that
gone.
was just it was just a
They were
brick.
around him.
Yeah.
Not
They were-
this Jack Showalter over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, you know, and to me that's comfort level, that's body language, this is the person that I'm comfortable in.
Talked to him about the conversation that night. We've talked to the other guy about the conversation that went on that night, and they both, you know, they were just like, hey, what's been up? What have you been doing? You know, what's been going on? And she was trying to talk him into going to another bar down the street or something like that. And he's like, I worked all day, I'm tired, I'm going home. And he left and went home. And, you know, we think things could have been
We
different.
question
but,
the time in that video. Like,
That
we're not
time
sure if it's
stamp.
accurate, so people might look at that and take it to, based off of the records that we have, there could definitely be some questions on the timing of that.
Right.
for sure. But I will just say, I can't verify the timestamp there, but I know for a fact that after they left the corner club, they walked to the grub truck. It's about an 8-minute walk, so we need to factor that in. And then they ordered food. They were at the grub truck for about 10 minutes, and they didn't leave the grub truck until the Uber driver had arrived at 1:49.
And those
So
cameras
if you
would
work
suggest,
backwards, that timestamp doesn't match up.
I would
So
suggest.
I don't know, I'm not gonna say it's completely false or anything, or how false it is, I don't know. But I'm saying from the timeline that I know for a fact, working it backwards doesn't match that time.
Alivira, I can see you being very mindful to say what's exactly on your mind. I will help you. Because right now, I don't have a filter, I'll say it out. You're trying to say that they manipulated the timelines. And yes, I agree with you, 110%. That is the reason they're not willing to change Maddie and Kaylee's timeline after you insisted and you confirmed that they came home at 1:56. Now we need to ask the question, why were they manipulating the timelines? Obviously, to make sure that their students, their frats, the brats are not involved. Pardon my language. If you pay attention to everything happening that night, it was the frats running around, carrying at the grub shop, watching crime scene pictures, allegedly, Kaylee in the sitting position. Steve G, your father. Christy, your mother. Alivira, your sister, I feel your pain. Condolence to your loss. But I wished you all checked more into the frats. I wish you all checked more into Showalter. Instead of accusing Brian Koberger of having a KILLER kit. These were people your daughter knew. Your daughter had a stalker. What was going on in Kaylee's life? Because Kaylee was at home for a whole month. Was she in some kind of fear? Did she get some threat? Some kind of threat? Because we could clearly hear Showalter threatening her. What do y'all know that we don't? Steve looks like he knows, but he can't talk. Are you protecting Jack D by any chance? Because I've seen Jack D with injuries. Jack D looked mashed up when the police were called. Did Jack D take Murphy out of the house? Because obviously this is the most horrific crimes that has ever happened. And the only person who would have thought of saving the dog, if they couldn't save their girlfriend, or if they were behind the girlfriend's crimes, we've seen cases similar to this, that the person actually unlives their partner, but they look after the pet. In the first time, I'm not saying Jack D did anything, but I think you'll need to take into consideration that Jack D could be involved. He was the last person to be ruled out.
The students' lives.
My sisters did everything right. They went out in the buddy system. They went out together. They Ubered out. They stopped and got food. They Ubered home. They let their dog out to go potty. And then they locked their house up. So they Ubered home. They let their dog out to go potty. And
Did Kaylee actually let her dog Murphy out to potty? What time was this at Olivera? And did you see that from the doorbell cam of the neighbors before the police actually took it in? She said, my sisters did everything right. They Ubered out with the family private ride or the university Uber ride, share ride. She said they came home, they locked their doors, they let their dog out to potty, and this still happened. So Olivera, if you saw the cameras of the neighbors, that's the only explanation that could make sense. What did you see? Who did you see furthermore? Was it Showalter? Or was it Jack D? Or was it both? The Congalvis know something wasn't right from the beginning. And maybe that is the reason Steve said in his interview to ABC last summer that he's going to keep an open mind. Chrissy was sure that it was BK. Nobody can be sure unless they saw the suspect walking in, walking out. I wish Murphy could talk. The G family. I wonder if you'll have seen Jack D's TikTok before he deleted it, right after the quadruples. When I had the chance to take this picture, explain to me, why is he bruised on his knees? And let me show you his fingers clearly. This is Jack D's TikTok. As soon as people started questioning him, the pictures vanished. His TikTok vanished. Why was he the last person to be ruled out? Why is his fingers in such a bad state? Did he cut his fingers? It looked like he had a band-aid wrapped on his finger. In the other picture. That is why I personally do not exclude anyone out of this mix. Look at his fingers when you zoom in. Those nails are, wow. He cut himself. This is what the police were searching for. Why did you all rule him out? Were the Jacks running the show? This isn't normal. At least 3 of his fingers are cut. And if you look at the other one on the left hand, his left hand, you can see his 4th finger next to the pinky finger. And the pinky finger is scarred, injured. Is he wearing a band-aid there? Trigger warning, guys. I have to zoom in. The Jacks and the Davids, the Frats, and the surviving roommates have been always the theory I've been putting out. And I wasn't just putting it out for the sake of harassing these youngins. I was putting it out because I was analyzing, studying, observing the grub truck until I found the crowd yelling Xana. And right before that, it was the Banfield that I spotted the whole mess. Before the G family came out saying in the interview that Kaylee was found in the sitting position, I showed you all actually Saeed watching his phone device, and Kaylee was actually, somebody was in the sitting position with red liquid all over the bed. Trigger warning. All these things I've been exposing, you all can go way back to the beginning of my channel in this case. That will be 2 years and 2 months ago. And just pay attention to how I was breaking all this down and how I was exposing all these things they were doing. This is what the police were actually searching for. Somebody who had cuts on their fingers. Did the police actually do their job? Why was the FBI called 5 days later? Make this make sense. This man was at the grub truck. Sorry, at the, not the corner club only, he was at 1122 Kings Road. I personally believe. Most of the speculation from the college, students, and from Idaho, Moscow was the Jacks and the Davids. Jack D was the last person to be ruled out. We can't look away from that. We can't ignore that. No matter what the G family tells me, Jack D, you have a white Hyundai Elantra. You got off a black truck. And a black truck was seen by the tripod at 2 a.m. parked in front of 1122 Kings Road. And a female was running from the sliding door, hysterically yelling. So is everybody lying? Is the tripod people from Illinois lying? The FBI told them, the FBI took down the post they put on Facebook trying to alert us of what they saw. So yes, Inan had a point. But Inan Hush is another case too. The man who was subpoenaed by Ann Taylor. I will be doing one about Inan Hush very soon. Actually, that was a request from a very good subscriber, and I agree totally with him. Inan is in a league of his own. He seems to know too much about that house, and he observes too much. The sliding door, the easiest way to come into the house, access point, entry point, exit. Inan seems to know a lot for somebody who says he didn't really know the girls. He could have been the stalker, but we'll go back to Inan soon. Now let me finish off explaining why I don't trust Jack D. And Showalter, both of them, the Jacks. The Jacks were both at the corner club. Jack Showalter continued walking with Kaylee and Maddie, but that doesn't mean he was escorting them, guys. That doesn't mean he was just a friendly neighborhood walker. He threatened the girls on the way to the grub truck. He said, well, you know we're going to get you for that, Maddie. And that's when Kaylee said, Maddie, what did he tell Adam? Why was he threatening Maddie? If I was Maddie's parents, and if I was Steve, Christy, and Olivia, who've done a lot in this case, and who really want the correct justice for these 4 innocent victims, please dig deeper into the grub truck. S&M, say no more. You'll need to really look into the grub truck. Steve, people are caring, and it's heartbreaking. We want the correct justice for the 4 victims. This is not entertainment. This is really a serious, horrific crime, and these 4 students could have been our children. They could have been our friends' children. They could have been our neighbors' children. They are real life unalivers who are roaming around. This man has access to cars. The white Hyundai Elantra, the white Jeep. Wasn't that the pickup that we saw driving towards the corner club when Hoodie Guy and the girls were walking?
I mean, is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about that the girls knew or that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say not in the immediate circle by any means, but a few of the names that have been circulating around, I think it's hard not to kind of, dig into this. And I don't know how much of that is just because we have so little information from law enforcement and how much of it really is, a sister or a father's intuition.
Can you elaborate at all? I don't know. You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that she knew, or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe she not, but, and yeah.
She had a strong alibi.
Just really fast.
You can dismiss.
An hour later, and we're like, what? And I don't know. I don't know anything about those individuals. I just know they were people that, definitely should have been looked at, and yeah.
I don't know what would prevent you from sharing somebody's alibi.
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know. We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here.
Now, this is only speculation. The G family said that some people are being ruled out too quickly. And why are the alibis not being shared with us? I would assume, obviously, it has to be John Jack Showalter Jr. It could be BF and DM. BF is actually sitting on Showalter's lap. They're in some camping place with a bonfire and everything in front of them. And yes, this is Bethany Funk with black hair. So are y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Inside job possibly? You have one surviving roommate who isn't sure if she was dreaming or if she was, you'll know, in a right man. I wonder if rug tests were taken of them. Why didn't they send them to a psychologist as soon as possible? That is when the mind is fresh. They should have had forensic mental health team there. Why didn't they even call the FBI immediately, who have all the resources? So I'm sure a fight must have broken out at the living room. And I'm sure this is the good vibes that the fingerprint was found, one of the unidentified male DNAs. I believe, just in my humble opinion, that Steve G and Christian Oliveira are talking about the Davids, Jack Showalter, and the surviving roommates, and maybe even Hunter Johnson, were all cleared out too soon. This was all pre-planned, in my opinion. I want to end on this note. Pay attention to what the reporter asks the G family and listen to their reply.
And did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something
Some mail.
that was male related.
So the Congalvis heard from the police on Thursday. This was the first week of the horrific crimes. The police wanted Steve to sign a waiver, something male related. Something was coming true for Kaylee in her mail. Maybe she wasn't aware of it. Could it have been a love letter? Could it have been a threat? Could it have been rugs? What were they sending her in the mail? And the FBI wanted them to sign the waiver. So that's important, in my opinion. I've spoken about this plenty of times, but I believe it's really important. Because the big boys, the FBI wanted Steve to sign a waiver. So were they aware? Was Showalter sending something in the post? Or Kaylee stalker allegedly? Let me know. Guys, what y'all think? Please like, share, and subscribe.